Now, Alex, let's talk about defense because I did make the point on the show because right after the game, I made the statement that I'm pinning this loss on the defense. And I still do hold the defense extremely responsible because I just genuinely feel you score 27, you should win. Bottom line, you score 27 against a Tennessee team they're not glamorous offensively. I mean, you want to hype them up all you want. That's fine. They're not a juggernaut. They're an okay team. They're kind of like South Carolina, in my opinion. Year 5 of Will Muschamp. And I'm not saying it's all negatives. I thought J.C. Horn locked down his side of the field. I like what I've seen from guys like J.J. Nigbari, Aaron Sterling. There are nice pieces on this defense. But year 5 of Will Muschamp, Alex, and everybody knows how we feel about Will Muschamp, but year 5 of his tenure, and the defense is still average. That's troubling to me. And again, it's only one game. Maybe this season goes out and, you go out against Florida and throw up some dominating performance. You never know. You never know. College football, you never know. But Israel Mukuamu goes out in the second half. The secondary really as a whole, the entire game, looks extremely average outside of J.C. Horn. You're making foolish mistakes, and that was another big problem I thought on Saturday night was the discipline of the football team. But you're making these small mistakes. And then the big thing, like I told you, Alex, I don't think South Carolina can win a football game where it does not win the turnover margin. And what do you know? Tennessee gets 2 turnovers off you. You get 0. You're not able to force any turnovers. You're not able to force Jarrett Garantano to make those bad decisions like we talked about and get those big plays, those changing type of plays. And, a lot of fans have come to me and said, well, Chris, the offense scored 27, the defense only gave up 24. I understand 7 of it was on a pick 6, but that happened so early in the game. I mean, really what the microcosm of this game and, like, the frustrating part for me, the opening series of the second half, Tennessee takes the ball and shoves it down your throat and just takes momentum. I mean, the fact South Carolina came back in that game, I'd say kudos to Carolina for fighting because they could have packed it up right there, in my opinion, to be totally honest with you. But this defense, you take a look at this defense. I'll just ask you, I guess, because obviously to me, I said coming in this season, if the defense does not take a jump from average to above average to maybe even elite, that to me is going to be a bigger indictment on Will Muschamp than anything offensively because you knew what you were signing up for on the offensive side of the ball. But for the defense to not be a strength in year 5, and again, got a long season ahead, but from what we saw on Saturday night, the defense is yet again a problem. How troubling, how concerning is that for you?
Yeah, it's concerning for sure that you haven't. I mean, again, to your point, in year 5, how do you not have any depth behind Mukuamu and Horn?
Because Tennessee, and again, I don't, I'm not calling these guys out like they're wild, but to call a spade a spade, Tennessee was picking on Jamie Robinson all night. I'm picking on him all night long.
Yeah. In some respects, yeah, but I mean, like, at the same time, like, they went 1 for 12.
Oh, third down. South Carolina third down efficiency was fantastic. I mean, yeah, phenomenal.
Like, truthfully, the troubling part of that to me is more like, I'll say this, like, Garantano can on the field, he just doesn't, and so, like, he sailed balls.
He was high all night. He was high all night, yeah.
And so, like, even with that, to kind of leave ourselves in the positions we left ourselves in is what's troubling to me. Like, Tennessee didn't do anything spectacular that entire night and managed to get 24. So that's what's troubling to me. They didn't do anything special. They hit that. I mean, that one touchdown pass he threw, that was a good ball. There's nothing you can do about that. That was just a good throw. It's a good play. But, other than that, they weren't doing anything special. Like, they don't have a, special player out there that's going to make a ton of guys miss or anything of that nature. And it's just, like, that's what's troubling to me, especially in year 5.
Yeah. I mean, I just, again, I it's so funny, Alex. We both see social media and, people – I said this Sunday afternoon is that, if you try to blame players, you're an insensitive asshole. If you try to blame the coaches, you're negative. So to me, I'm like, well, who do you want to blame? Who does it fall on? Because I look at the defensive side of the ball, and I genuinely believe there's talent there. I mean, you go down the list of just the guys that are starting, and it's 4-star, 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 5-star, high 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. There's talent all over the field. It's just like how can this defense not be any better than it was because, again, I totally understand. They gave up 24. You scored 27. But in a game like that in the second half, if you truly do have an elite defense, your defense finds a way to make a stand and win you a football game. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm being too hard on them. Maybe I expected too much coming in this season. But I just, I think back to – and, again, it's unfair to compare this team to any of those Spurrier teams that won all those games. But when South Carolina was winning big football games and winning big time, you had an elite defense. I mean, that's what people forget. You think about Spurrier and the fun and gun and the throwing it all over the field, but the defense was what won you football games. And I really just thought, I guess, coming into this game that, people were giving me their score prediction saying, 31 to 30 to this, or I'm like, I just believe in this defense so much more than that to think they'll give up 31 or even 24. And here we are. I mean, I guess it just really surprised me. I really thought we could lean on this defense and this was one of those games, Alex, that I talked in the preseason when I said, you're going to need your defense to go win you a football game. Like, you just are. There's going to be games this year where your defense has to step up and win you a football game. And I just think that in year 5, I mean, again, it goes game-by-game basis, but against this Tennessee team, 27, in my opinion, it should have been enough. It just should have been enough. You should have been able to get a big-time stop in the second half, a turnover, whatever, and it just never happened. It just never happened. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I 100% agree with you especially from like a talent perspective, like, at least according to the recruiting services, we got plenty of talent to put this thing together. And so when you're asking like where it falls on Muschamp. Like, he's in charge. He signed off on this. This is his defense. Again, in year 5, that's where the buck's got to stop.